Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. This morning we're going to look at the law, the rule of law, and our processes and how we go about them. It's something we call, we're looking at accountability, checks, balances, and indeed good governance, and how all of those interface into each other. Our guest is Honorable Oghene Egoh. He's not a new person on the show. Good to have you again. He's a former member of the House of Representatives. He was in the 8th and 9th Assemblies, and he's joining us from our Abuja studio. Good morning to you, Honorable Egoh.
Thank you, Larry. I'm happy to be with you once more.
Indeed. First of all, as I said, we're looking at it from the point of view of what? Accountability within society, the checks, balances, which usually have to do with law, and good governance generally. It's something of a mouthful. Tell me what you can tell us about that particular package, as it were.
Yeah, that package, I'm relating it right now to the 4 tax bills that Mr. President presented to the House.
Okay.
On that debate right now.
Okay.
Yes. And those tax, yes.
And that
those tax laws that the president, yeah.
It caused a sort of furore.
Presented, yeah. Some people are against the laws. And I'm saying that under accountability, everybody has his responsibility in governance. The president has a responsibility to present bill to the House. Members of the House, both Senate and House of Rep, have a duty to look at those bills. And if they find them good, they pass them. If they don't find them all right, they can amend them. But for the governors, other northern governors or the governors combined, to come and say the bills should be dropped, secondly, that this bill should not pass, and that the amount that the president recommended, the derivation he recommended under the VAT, to be reduced from 60% to 30%. I'm saying that the governors are acting on traverse and they don't have right to do what they are doing. They are dictating to the president. If these bills are passed and government is good, there's proper accountability, at the end of the day, people will praise Mr. President. If these bills are passed and it doesn't work well, of course, the president would have failed. But the governors who have a duty to govern their state don't have a right to dictate to the president and by extension to the House National Assembly. If the governors are so interested in the amendment of the bill, what they needed to do was to talk to the members who are representing them. Okay. And to tell them their feeling. During the first and second reading, then the members can contribute towards the bill and make amendment at the third reading. Then besides that, there is also room for public hearing. Such governors can organize themselves and put their view forward. But to take authority to their hand and say governors have met, and therefore the bill the president brought will hereby direct the president that he should reduce the derivation element on the VAT from the 60% he proposed to 30%, is not only legal, illegal, but a traverse. So what I'm saying, allow the president to do his work, allow the National Assembly to do their job, because that's what they are elected to do. And not the governors dictating what it should be.
Okay. The governors cannot dictate, can they? They cannot dictate to the National Assembly. They cannot dictate to the president. And should they try to do so, I would imagine that they would simply be ignored, even though much has been made of the power of the governors that make up the governors forum. That this is a very Nigerian thing. Is that not the? Can the governors really have an effect? As you said, if they have any issue, there are processes. They can't speak directly. They can go. So that's the point that you want to make. That's the essential point.
That is the point I'm emphasizing. Yes, because when you do that, it shows you are preventing the president from ruling. And the president must take responsibility for all his action. And any law that is amended, this amendment the president brought to the House is a major amendment
It is.
of all the laws, tax laws in the country. And the president worked on this with his team for a long time. And I have a feeling, because I've gone through them, that these laws will make Nigeria to progress. But there are some governors who are afraid of those things. For instance, the northern governors who initially came and said it will make the north to be poor. I don't understand. Kano State, for instance, is a very rich state. So if there is derivation in VAT, all they need to do is to work hard and get the derivation from VAT. And with this law, it's going to encourage every state to work hard. We encourage internally generated revenue. And for you to be able to do that, then the governors, of course, will have to ensure that their states are safe. There are no bandits. Look at Lagos, for instance. Lagos is very safe. And that's because the governors who have been ruling Lagos have ensured that life and property is safe according to the major act of the Constitution. But there are some states where the governors don't bother. Bandits come, people come, disrupt everything, they disturb investors, they are not bothered. So if you are not bothered about the welfare of your people, about the economic well-being of your state, of course, then you will lose through the VAT. But if you are working hard, of course, you should not be afraid of the issue of the VAT. Because people say, oh, the North is poor. But I don't believe that. In the First Republic, we know that the North was competing favorably with the East and the Southwest. And since they found oil, and then, of course, found that a lot of tax is coming from Lagos, it appears some sections of the country are no more body to work. So these bills is going to encourage the entire country to work hard. And what I'm saying is that the National Assembly should be allowed to do their work. Governors should not do the work for the National Assembly. They can consult their members at the back. The same way that the governors can consult the Senate at the back, and they can also appear at the public hearing. And if they do that, of course, National Assembly can amend the bill if they convince them. But to just sit around the table and say, Governors Forum have decreed that the VAT as submitted by Mr. President is hereby amended to 3%. Then, of course, to 30%. Then, of course, there was no need for the President to submit it. The governors should just have gone ahead to pass it. So they are acting on traverse, and they are not acting within the law, and they should allow the lawmakers to carry out their work, to look at the bill that the President sent. If the lawmakers feel that the law, what the President said, is good enough, they will take it. If they feel they need to make amendment, they will make amendment. If they believe in rejecting it, they will do that. But for you to say it should not be debated at all, this is what it should be, I think democracy is not run that way. That is the point I'm making.
Okay. I get you. And thank you for the explanation. But what would you say to those who would say, look, they can, if the governors wish to spend their time in that way, much has been made of the fact that the governors forum are too powerful. They're not just powerful, too powerful. First of all, as a former member, I don't know what you think about that, but you've just explained that where the areas where they shouldn't go into, let them not be, as you legal people call it, ultra vires, their actual function. Can they simply not be legislatively ignored? Because
they can be legislatively ignored, but they would have made the best of themselves. Because what is happening, like you said, the governor forum is very powerful. Nobody is against it. But people are bringing politics into it. Look at the Bauchi State governor, for instance, who is bringing PDP ideas to criticize the bill. And he's indirectly deceiving other APC governors to buy into it. All he's doing is to discredit the bill and the bill that the president submitted so that APC will become, the president will become weaker, and the PDP will have enough reason to criticize the president. But it appears to me that a lot of the governors are not seeing through what that PDP governor from Bauchi State is trying to do. Because when you look at the bill, if you read it carefully, you will see that no state will become poorer because of it. Because in the old act, under VAT, the federal government collects 55%. But under this particular one, the share of the federal government has been reduced to something like 10 or 50%. majority of the remaining money is shared between the states on the quality basis and on population.
Yes.
The only difference is the area of derivation, and because derivation will encourage some other states to work very hard, there will be a sufficient surplus that will go into the federation account. So on the whole, it's a win-win situation for the governance. And if you look at the other part of the tax bill, it's very friendly to the poor, to workers. If you earn less than 800,000, that's almost $1 billion per annum, you would not pay the tax. Unlike that, when somebody who is earning just 200,000 naira is paying tax. So the bill is friendly to the public, and it also exempts more scale industries from paying tax. There's a particular amount that turnover you must have first before you pay tax. So the president thought through this bill before he submitted them.
Yeah.
And for the governors to just come and blanket criticism, it's not the best. Because at the end of the day, what they are trying to do is to prevent the president from doing the right thing for the country. And I will advise the governors to concentrate more in their state. Work harder in your state, get enough internally generated revenue, and then get enough VAT to benefit your people, rather than coming to intrude in the area that is sacrosanct for the president and for members of the National Assembly.
Do you think it is mischief, or that people don't understand the legislative process? Because otherwise, I would say, why should one be too concerned about this, in that there are established procedures and protocols? Everything from state houses of assembly right up to the National Assembly, there are order, there are rules, the order, very, very similar to the law courts, where things are done, they are rule bound. So if we did you want to come in? Because the rules that I'm talking...
You are correct. You are correct, yes. Now, there are two parts of it. There's some mischief in PDP governors, try to deceive other governors to reject the bill provided by the president, to discredit the president and the present APC government. That mischief is here. Again, they cannot also pretend not to know what is right, because this same bill, if the National Assembly passes it, of course they will see the benefit of it. If it's constitutional amendment, they know it will come to their state. But it's not constitutional amendment. It will come to the State House of Assembly if it's constitutional amendment. So they are aware of the way the law works from the National Assembly when a bill comes, goes through first reading, second, third reading, public hearing, and then, of course, both houses either would have a conference on it, or both houses will look at it individually, do amendments, and then at the end of the day, they will come together to reconcile it before they pass it to the president for assent. These governors are aware. I think that it's more of mischief to criticize the government of President Tinubu, to say, oh, we said it, he's not doing well, it's against certain section. No, this bill is not against the North. It's not against the poor state. It's not even against the rich state. People have not taken time to read the bill. It's about 300 pages. I've taken time to read it. If they take time, if the governors take time to read it and get their experts to read it, or ask your daily committee to come and explain to them.
All right.
The governor of Nasarawa State recently said that their initial misconception was because they have not had the opportunity to look at the bill. Now that they have explained the bill to them, it's not as bad as they thought.
Exactly.
So,
one moment. Can I just
relax?
Okay. Yes, we'll continue. But let me bring on Mr. George, who has called in from Lagos. Good morning, Mr. George. What do you think is going on?
To the guest.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, I thought we have put this subject behind us, because I saw the governors coming together to say they now agree with the with those bills, and that the VAT issue had been discussed and agreed upon. But be that as it may, let us bear in mind that wherever you need citizens to give, there's always one form of resistance or the other, especially in taxation. The average human being does not want to pay tax, especially we in this part of the world, because we don't trust that the government will use the tax to do what we want. But my only consolation is the fact that the president is a determined person. He knows where he's going, he knows what he wants, and he knows how to go about it. He insisted, and there was a dialogue, and everything has moved on. I think that is the key thing. In my view, we should
Can I come in briefly?
Let it be and wait for the implementation when the time comes.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, thank you, Mr.
Briefly.
Yes, please.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. George. Yeah, thank you, Mr. George. Now, on the main bill, if you go through it, the president said 60% to pay as derivation to the state that generated the highest amount of VAT. And you know, to generate high VAT, you have to have peace in your state. The government will have to work hard to get internally generated revenue. Now, the governors have come to say, no, that 60%, we don't accept it. Even though we don't accept the bill, it should be reduced to 30%. What I'm saying is that the governors don't have the right to tell the president to reduce the VAT element of derivation to 30%. President has submitted 60%. They should allow the two houses to look at the 60% and to look at the rationale behind it. Instead of the governors coming to use their power to say, oh, we are the governors forum, this 30% and the 60% is rejected, it should be 30%.
Okay.
You know, meanwhile the bill, with the House, is saying 60%. And to address what George said, most Nigerians don't like to pay tax because they don't trust government will use it well. But if you read through these three acts, you find out that they are reducing tax for low-income people and even for high-income or let a certain area, you will not pay tax. So
yes.
It's a very progressive
okay, yes, you made that point earlier. Yes. I believe that Reverend Dominic is also waiting to join us. Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Yori.
Thank you for calling.
In Abuja.
Yes.
If you can hear me, can I go on?
We can hear you.
I can hear you, okay. Yes. Dominic, I can hear you.
Yori, honestly, when the governors began to play this game of what I call hide and seek, of ignorance, I didn't feel good. But to me, the essence of this bill is almost about to be defeated. The essence of this bill, to ginger a new tax reform in Nigeria, is almost reeling back to politics. Because these governors also have made a decree as almighty governors. And the Mr. President, who is a Democrat, have come into a middle place to agree with them. If you ask me, if we move from that 50% your guest is hammering on to 30% the governors are clamoring for, we have gone back to where we're coming from. Because the essence of this bill is for people to work. And whatever you work, you eat. Not be monkey the work, but with the chop. But you are going back there. If we have agreed with the governors on their own proposal, what I'm trying to say, Mr. President should find a way to present this bill as it were. Let there be a debate, yes or no. If yes takes if people in yes I number, we go on. If we know I number, we step it down. But to do the deal of the governors is taking us back to where we're coming from, which Mr. President wants to pull us out from there and make people to work and make people to strive and work so that in every level there shall be profit. Not when I'm laboring, somebody is eating. But the government is taking us a step backward to that old way of doing things where somebody work and that person will take the gain of it. So that's what to say. Mr. President should have stand his ground and remove politics out of it. He has been a good person. He won election in 2023 against all odds. They are putting him with that bill. If we don't do it this way, we will go to the north. I don't think that Mr. President, fall to that kind of that way. All Nigerians support this bill. But it seems like politics is having its way. Mr. President has tried to agree with the governors so that we can start this piece of graveyard, which did not go down well with me. And this was a get is never to explain to Nigerians. God bless Nigeria.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much,
Thank you, Dominic.
Reverend Dominic.
Thank you.
You know, just as Mr. George said, he said he thought this matter was behind us now because last month, you recall, well, I think there was a meeting, they had a meeting, and it was reported at the time that the Governors Forum has finally thrown its weight behind the tax reform. And reading from a newspaper report at the time, the state governments made this known in a communique issued at the end of a meeting with the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, in Abuja. So, you know, yes, I hear the governors said that the revised VAT sharing formula must ensure an equitable distribution of the 50% that we're talking about. That seemed to be their insistence, 30% based on derivation and 20% based on population. So, as George said when he called in, this matter, why are we, you know, there's no matter of, the governors have said that they are on board now. Just as you yourself said, Honorable, maybe after the opportunity to study it, it's a voluminous document. There are 4 actual bills that were sent by Mr. President. So until we're having this conversation, but we did want to have it in case there were areas that still needed to be handled. But the general idea, is it not, is that this matter has been dealt with. The governors that did not see their way clear are now saying it's clear. It's clear to us. There's not very much wrong here. Everybody knows that Nigerian tax laws are archaic. And this is what Mr. President is going about addressing. So just like Mr. George started off saying, why are we talking about this matter? Are there some things that we should know, Honorable?
Yes, there are. Because the original bill, which is still with the House, we talked about 60%.
Yes.
For derivation.
Okay.
Intended
okay.
to make every state of the federation to work hard.
Yes.
For example, for instance, look at Zamfara, where so much gold is found that if the governments of the people of Zamfara state behave like Niger Delta, where the governors protect the oil,
okay,
Zamfara state could be richer than River State.
Okay, one second. One second, sir. One second, sir. One second, sir. I have a call that I'm in danger of losing. Ibrahim, Ibrahim is on the line from, is it Niger State? Yeah, Minna. Ibrahim in Minna.
Yeah, go ahead, Ibrahim.
On the line from Niger State. Yes, Niger State, Minna.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Okuyori, and your guests out there.
Good morning, sir. Honorable.
Okay. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I think your guest has succeeded in reducing this topic to tax issue. Yes, he has succeeded in reducing this topic, this very important topic, to just an item, tax. We are talking about accountability. We are talking about check, and we are talking about balances. We are talking about good governance. So he has cornered it to issue of tax, as if that is just the only thing. The governors they are talking about, they equally have rights. They have rights to say they don't want. That's what democracy provides. Democracy did not say a particular person should have. Even there is a process. And this is where the check and balances comes in. The check and balances are issue of the National Assembly. I remember that when this issue came up, the National Assembly at the lower house, the House of Representatives, did not discuss it. And the government realized certain things that they did not do well, that they did not communicate with the general public before coming into the air to do these things. So I was thinking that the issue of that tax, after that communication, it has been narrowed down to acceptance, which we are waiting for. But let us come to the issue of accountability. Do we have proper accountability in our country? Do we have check and balances in our country? Do we have good governance? Accountability. We have seen it happen here and there that governors, our representatives, even the president, will come and mess up the finances of the country and go away. Even the minister, the EFCC will go after everybody. At the end of the day, it will take many years. So these are issues of accountability that has not been, the system has not properly checked. You look at the state and national assembly, even the governors we are talking about, at the state house of assembly, they don't allow you to function as a proper tool of democracy to check their SSs. So that's why even at the National Assembly, you now call where you have rubber stamp. So I think, well, as it is, are we having good governance in the country today? How do we know we have good governance? It's very simple. In running a business, you have profit and loss. The profit and loss at the end of the day, when you make your gain, you see it in cash. But in a democracy and in governance, what we see is that the improved standard of living of the people. So we now ask ourselves, as the standard of living of the people, is it better off? This is where we measure good governance. No matter amount of money you produce, either in tax, if you don't focus on production, on productivity, you will never go anywhere. The value of the money itself is a value of exchange. It is not the volume, it is the value. So if you can use 1,000 naira to get what 1 million can buy, then you are talking about good governance. You are talking about this. So let me not take your time, Uncle Yori.
Okay, sir.
Accountability check.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Yori.
Yes,
I think he has
please.
spoken very well.
Yes, and in wrapping up now, in wrapping up, Honorable, in wrapping up.
Yes. Yeah.
Please go ahead, but
Yes.
in wrapping up.
What I'm saying is that in good governance and accountability, you must follow rules and regulation.
Yeah.
The National Assembly is elected to make laws for the Federation. And there are systems, democratic system that it goes. You have first reading. The bill will come out. Everybody will see it. We will have a second reading. They will gazette it in the House. At the end of the third reading, during this time, you will debate it. And you can make amendment under the second reading or the third reading. After that, there's still a public hearing. Before the two houses will harmonize the bill. We are saying that in a democratic setting where there's accountability, it is the House that will do their work and not governors giving order.
All right.
That so bill, this is how it must be done.
Okay.
So I'm speaking exactly what the speaker called him from Niger State to talk about.
All
you
right.
know, what I'm saying is that the governors should not come and say National Assembly cannot do this. They are usurping the power of the National Assembly.
All
what
right.
they needed to do
Honorable.
is to reach their members from behind,
Okay.
so that they can put their views when the bill is being debated and passed.
All right.
So we're speaking the same thing.
Indeed,
Thank
indeed.
you.
Well, there's a sense, I want to thank you very much for coming along and, as it were, underlining this whole matter, the processes, there are rules, there are procedures. In fact, that is what makes the whole issue of accountability, checks, balances, and good governance better.
That is it.
Yes. So I want to thank you very much, Honorable Oghene Egoh, for coming on and underlining this very, very important thing. And to the viewer who called in saying that our guest, Honorable Egoh, had succeeded in reducing this to just one aspect. No, not necessarily so, as he will find out once we come back from break. And there are other aspects to the principles that we're talking about here that does not exclude what Honorable Egoh has brought up. In fact, it's been quite valuable. Thank you very much, Honorable Egoh, for coming on our program today.
Thank you, Yori.
All right, then.
I'm glad to
our
be
pleasure.
with you. Thank you.
All right. So we'll take a break now. We'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas.